Isabella collapsed. Is she really okay? My voice trembled with panic as I clutched my phone, my heart racing at the unexpected call from her school. The crisp autumn morning had suddenly turned into a nightmare. I don't know details yet, Mrs. Parker. The swimming instructor said she had some kind of panic attack when approaching the pool. The teacher's voice was steady but concerned. My precious daughter Isabella had gone into hyperventilation during her swimming class and was rushed to Boston Children's Hospital. I abandoned my marketing presentation mid-slide and took the first taxi I could flag down. When I finally reached her hospital room, she was peacefully asleep. I was relieved to see her chest rise and fall regularly. Audrey, how is she? What happened? Maxwell burst into the room, his usually immaculate suit wrinkled from rushing over. His eyes darted between Isabella and me, demanding answers. She's resting comfortably now. Please don't worry, the doctor interjected with practiced calm, though I noticed the subtle tension in his expression. Doctor, I need to know everything. What exactly happened to my daughter? I pressed, my marketing executive persona taking over as I tried to maintain composure. The doctor adjusted his glasses thoughtfully before asking, could you tell me about Isabella's relationship with her grandparents? I don't understand the relevance, I replied, caught off guard by this seemingly unrelated question. I'm specifically interested in knowing how she interacts with them on a daily basis, he clarified, choosing his words with careful precision. The unexpected line of questioning left me stunned, my mind racing to understand the connection. Hey doctor, that's enough. Stop making baseless assumptions about my parents. Maxwell's voice thundered through the room, his face flushed with rage. I watched as the veins on his temples pulsed visibly, a warning sign I'd learned to recognize over our years together. What's gotten into you? I whispered, startled by this uncharacteristic outburst from my typically controlled husband. The doctor took a deep breath and looked stern. Then I should explain my concerns. What followed would shatter my understanding of our family dynamic forever. My name is Audrey Parker, 42 years old, and I'm the marketing manager at a leading tech firm in Boston. Our household consists of 5 people. Myself, my husband Maxwell, who's a senior executive, our 4th grade daughter Isabella, and Maxwell's parents, Theodore and Victoria Reed. We used to live separately in a modern apartment complex downtown. My career was thriving, but the demands of my position meant frequent late nights at the office. Maxwell, with his executive role, was equally consumed by work. His parents had always emphasized academic excellence, and that drive carried into his professional life. He was constantly pushing for the next promotion and achievement. Even at home, he would sequester himself in his home office, laptop glowing into the early hours. I feel guilty about Isabella, I confessed one evening, watching her eat dinner alone again. We have everything we need financially, but she seems so isolated. That's when Maxwell made his proposal. Actually, Audrey, what if we moved in with my parents? They've been suggesting it for months now. Theodore Reed had been a distinguished executive at one of the largest trading firms in Boston, while Victoria had taught at an exclusive private school until Maxwell was born. Theodore was recently forced into early retirement due to his deteriorating health. Victoria transitioned to part-time consulting work after Theodore's retirement, while Maxwell and I provided substantial monthly support to maintain their lifestyle. I've been looking into renovating their house in Brookline, Maxwell continued, spreading out architectural plans. We could create 2 separate living spaces while staying connected. The area would be better for Isabella, I agreed, picturing the tree-lined streets and prestigious schools. More space, better environment than our current situation downtown. We spent our evenings analyzing the logistics after Isabella was asleep, finally presenting our decision to Victoria during a video call. We've thought it through carefully. What do you think about this, Victoria? We'd be delighted. We've been hoping to suggest this arrangement ourselves. Having you propose it is such a relief. Victoria's refined voice carried genuine warmth through the phone. The transition proceeded efficiently, like one of Maxwell's well-executed business plans. The renovation transformed the stately Brookline house into 2 distinct living spaces, the first floor for Theodore and Victoria, our family taking the second. We opted against installing locks between the floors to maintain an open family dynamic, though we established clear boundaries about personal space. The arrangement seemed perfect. Isabella could enjoy dinner with her grandparents on the first floor during our late nights at the office. Yet each morning as I rushed out to catch the commuter train, guilt gnawed at me for relying so heavily on them. I really appreciate you both looking after Isabella while we're working, I said one morning, watching Victoria help her pack her school bag. They had taken charge of Isabella's homework supervision completely. It's our pleasure, Victoria assured me with her teacher's smile. Don't give it another thought, Audrey. Isabella is everything to us, Theodore added with what seemed like forced cheerfulness. Isabella, listen to what Grandma says. Okay, Mom. All right then, I'm heading out. See you later. Having such accomplished in-laws supporting us gave me the confidence to focus on my career advancement. 3 months into our new living arrangement, I managed to leave the office early, arriving home while the autumn sun still painted the windows gold. Isabella came running the moment I opened the door, throwing herself into my arms with tears streaming down her face. Sweetheart, what's wrong? Why are you crying? Isabella just buried her face deeper into my blazer, refusing to look up. Victoria appeared behind her, explaining smoothly. She's just overwhelmed with joy at seeing you home early. When Victoria reached to pat Isabella's head, my daughter jerked away violently. Victoria's smile tightened almost imperceptibly. Isabella, darling, that's not appropriate behavior. Grandma spends hours helping you with your studies. It hurts me when you act this way. She's probably just going through that phase where she craves parental attention. Isn't that right, Isabella? I'm sorry for disappointing you. My voice wavered with uncertainty. No need to worry. Victoria maintained her composure, though strain showed around her eyes. Isabella was excelling in her studies just moments ago. She's such a bright girl. When Victoria attempted another gentle pat, Isabella recoiled so sharply it made me gasp. Isabella, apologize to your grandma right now, I snapped, embarrassed by her behavior. Isabella turned slowly, her voice barely a whisper as she said, I'm sorry, Grandma. Isabella had always been close to her grandparents, so I dismissed her behavior as simple resistance to studying, perhaps wanting to play instead. I should be the one apologizing, Isabella, Victoria said softly. I caught a glimpse of moisture in Victoria's eyes, but she quickly laughed it off, dabbing at her face. Just some dust, nothing more. As weeks passed, I began noticing subtler changes in both Victoria and Isabella's behavior. While Isabella had always been introverted, preferring books to playmates, she had never shown such emotional dependence on me before. Her apparent aversion to her grandmother's touch, the same woman who had always showered her with affection, seemed particularly troubling. That night, after tucking Isabella in, I broached the subject with Maxwell in our bedroom. Maybe I should scale back at my work, spend more time with Isabella. She seems to need more parental presence. We've been over this repeatedly. Maxwell's voice carried an edge. My parents are more than capable of handling Isabella's care. That's what we agreed upon. I understand they're capable, but they can't substitute for her mom, I argued, my MBA-trained mind seeking compromise. Maxwell's face darkened, his jaw tightening. A warning sign I knew too well. Are you implying my parents are inadequate? That's not what I meant at all. The matter is settled. My parents will continue overseeing Isabella's care. He cut me off decisively, rolling over in our king-sized bed, effectively ending the discussion. As winter settled over Boston, my workload finally lightened. Let me handle the dishes tonight. Get some rest. Really? After your long day at the office? Things are slower now. I can manage more household tasks on my days off. If you insist, I'll catch up on some reading. I threw myself into domestic duties, trying to compensate for my previous absences. Maxwell maintained his usual grueling schedule. Since Audrey's picking up the slack around here, I'll take care of Isabella's bath time. Are you sure? You must be exhausted, I said, surprised by Maxwell's offer of help. I've got this. Father-daughter bonding is essential, he declared with an air of authority. Isabella, honey, go take your shower with Daddy. I watched them head upstairs, feeling a warmth of gratitude for Maxwell's involvement. When Isabella emerged from the bathroom, my maternal instincts flared. Isabella, your face is so flushed. Are you feeling all right? Her cheeks were bright red, but she wouldn't meet my eyes, instead glancing anxiously at Maxwell while remaining silent. "Sweetheart, why so quiet?" I asked. "The hot water probably ran a bit long. She's just overheated," Maxwell explained smoothly. "Are you sure you're okay?" I pressed, but Isabella only looked at Maxwell before nodding mechanically, murmuring, "I'm fine, Mom." From that evening on, Maxwell insisted on supervising Isabella's shower time, despite his demanding schedule. Yet each night, she emerged with that same concerning flush. I said, "Maybe we should have her checked by a pediatrician?" Then Maxwell said, "You're being paranoid. Isabella, you're fine, aren't you? Nothing hurts, right?" "I'm okay." "There, you see? Stop overthinking everything, Audrey." Maxwell chuckled, but something in his laugh made my skin crawl. I was blind then to the trauma unfolding beneath our roof. Summer returned to Boston, bringing with it the start of swim classes at Isabella's private school. She was a good swimmer and looked forward to this time of year every year. "Today's your first swim class, Isabella. You love these sessions," Isabella replied. "Yeah, I guess. Think you still remember all your strokes from last year?" She gave a small nod. "Maybe." Something was off that morning. Isabella, who once couldn't wait for summer, sat quietly picking at her breakfast, not a single smile crossing her face. Initially, I attributed it to first-day jitters, but studying her expression more closely, I recognized raw fear in her eyes. "Sweetheart, what's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong, Mom. Please don't worry," Isabella replied, her attempt at a smile more like a grimace. "If you're not feeling, I can call the school." "You don't have to go to school today. I'll be fine. Just go to work, Mom." "All right then. Have a good day, honey." "Bye, Mom." Isabella's forced smile haunted me as I drove to work. "She's in good hands. Victoria and Theodore will watch out for her," I reassured myself, turning my attention to my morning meetings. During lunch, my assistant burst into the conference room with a face pale. "Audrey, an emergency call from Brookline Academy. Isabella had a panic attack during swim class. They've rushed her to Children's Hospital." "What? Isabella?" My coffee cup slipped from my hand, shattering on the floor. "Go, Audrey, now." My CEO's voice cut through my shock. I barely remember the taxi ride, my trembling fingers dialing Maxwell's number. "Isabella collapsed?" "What happened? Is she all right?" I told him. "I don't know the details. The swimming instructor said she had some kind of panic attack at the pool's edge." He raised his voice and said, "The school didn't monitor the students properly. If anything happens to her, I will sue them legally. That's not important right now. I'm heading to the hospital. Meet me there." On my way. For once, Maxwell's razor-sharp focus on corporate success gave way to genuine paternal concern. The pediatric ward was eerily quiet when I arrived. Isabella lay peacefully in the hospital bed, her face finally serene in sleep. "Thank God she's safe." I almost collapsed on the spot with relief. "Careful there," her doctor steadied me as the room began to spin. "Audrey, how is she?" Maxwell appeared, still in his business suit. "She's..." Words failed me. "Your daughter is resting comfortably," the doctor interjected calmly. "Thank you for everything, doctor." I thanked him with tears of relief. But the doctor's grave expression stopped my gratitude short. "Mrs. Parker, there's something we need to discuss." "What is it? What's wrong?" "Well..." The doctor hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "Please, tell me everything. What did you find?" Terror gripped me. Was there some underlying condition we'd missed? "Could you tell me about Isabella's daily interactions with her grandparents?" he asked delicately. "I don't understand." "What do you mean?" The question seemed to come from left field. "I'm specifically interested in the nature of their relationship. They're very close, but..." "Why are you asking?" Confusion gave way to creeping dread as I pondered the doctor's careful questioning. What could possibly be happening between Isabella and her grandparents that would concern a medical professional? As I hesitated to answer, Maxwell erupted behind me. "What exactly are you implying, doctor?" His rage was palpable, a vein pulsing dangerously at his temple. "Maxwell, please," I whispered. unnerved by this uncharacteristic loss of control from my usually composed husband. How dare you cast aspersions on my parents? I'm simply gathering information for Isabella's care, the doctor explained calmly. Maxwell advanced toward the doctor's desk, his expensive leather shoes clicking ominously on the hospital floor. The doctor remained steady, maintaining professional composure. My parents are pillars of the Brookline community. Make any more unfounded accusations and you'll be hearing from our attorneys. Let's stay focused on Isabella's well-being. Focused? You're attacking my family's reputation. Please help me understand why these questions upset you so much. The doctor removed his glasses, rubbing his eyes wearily. Here's what concerns me. He explained that when Isabella was brought in, she had been in a severe panic state. As they tried to help her at poolside, she became hysterical about entering the water. But it was what happened in the ambulance that raised red flags. Even through her hyperventilation, Isabella had been muttering frantically. The EMTs reported she kept repeating, "I'm sorry, Grandma. I'm sorry, Grandpa," over and over in a dissociative state. When a child apologizes to specific family members during a trauma response, it often indicates an underlying situation. What's really happening between Isabella and her grandparents? The question hit me like a physical blow. I don't understand. I stammered, but my eyes were drawn to Maxwell's increasingly agitated state. You're hiding something, aren't you? I challenged him, my marketing instincts picking up on his tells. This is absurd. My parents would never, they couldn't. Maxwell's laughter held an edge of hysteria. I'm simply reporting my medical observations. I haven't made any accusations about your parents. The pattern is clear now. Given these concerns, I've initiated a report with Child Protective Services. Maxwell shouted. You had no right. Actually, I have both a legal and ethical obligation, the doctor corrected firmly. Our heated exchange must have disturbed Isabella as her eyes fluttered open. Mommy? Isabella, sweetheart. I rushed to embrace her, feeling her small body trembling. She can be discharged now, the doctor informed us, prompting Maxwell to snarl. Damn right she can. Come on, Isabella. We're leaving now. He grabbed her arm roughly. Get your hands off her. I yanked Isabella away instinctively, shocking myself with the force of my protective response. The air crackled with tension, but Isabella's safety was all that mattered. In the back of the Uber, Maxwell wouldn't stop. That doctor's a fraud. He's just trying to destroy my family's reputation. I remained silent and let my thoughts run over in my head. What? Do you believe that doctor, too? I asked Isabella slowly. Isabella, have your grandparents been hurting you? No, they haven't. Then, Maxwell said, you see? This whole thing is ridiculous. Isabella's denial rang hollow, her voice quavering under Maxwell's intimidating presence. Watching her shrink into herself, my mind raced through possible scenarios of what might have transpired with her grandparents. Whatever had traumatized my daughter so severely, she'd been too terrified to confide in me. The doctor's decision to contact Child Protective Services wasn't made lightly. He must have seen serious warning signs. But confronting Victoria and Theodore directly would be futile. Without concrete evidence, it would be their word against a frightened child's. Are you listening to me at all? Maxwell's sharp voice cut through my thoughts. Sorry, what? I said if CPS shows up, don't let them in. If there's nothing to hide, why not cooperate and clear everything up? I challenged, knowing it was futile. Are you insane? Do you know what an investigation would do to my reputation? Use your head. Maxwell had been groomed for success since his childhood, graduating from elite schools straight into executive positions. His carefully cultivated image meant everything to him. I watched him ranting about his career prospects and wondered, when had his professional reputation become more important than our daughter's welfare? My gaze drifted to the Uber's dash cam, triggering a crucial memory. There was something I hadn't told Maxwell or his parents. The next morning, I maintained a facade of normalcy, submitted a week of emergency paid time off, spent several hours at my college roommate's place to establish an alibi, then waited outside Isabella's school. Isabella, over here. Her face lit up with relief when she saw me. Mom? What's going on? I'll explain everything soon. We're catching a flight. We took a series of buses to Logan International and boarded a plane to my parents' home in Seattle. All night, Maxwell's calls flooded my phone. Finally, exhausted by the constant ringing, I answered. What the hell are you doing? Where's Isabella? Somewhere safe, where you can't reach her. Have you lost your mind? Come back and we'll discuss this rationally, I answered. We're not coming back. Fine, explain over the phone then. But send Isabella back immediately. His voice thundered through the speaker. Absolutely not, he said in an irritated tone. Why are you doing this to us? If you've really forgotten, let me remind you, you and your parents have been terrorizing our daughter day after day. Years of suppressed rage burst forth as I methodically laid out the evidence. The Uber's dash cam had reminded me of the security system I'd installed on the first floor, originally to monitor Theodore's health issues. The cameras were programmed to alert my phone to any unusual activity. The surveillance revealed a pattern. Victoria and Theodore had full access to Isabella whenever we were at work. What started as Victoria forcing Isabella to perform household chores escalated quickly. I'd initially rationalized it as teaching responsibility, but the footage showed Victoria never instructing, just watching with Theodore as Isabella worked. The security footage played out like a horror movie. Isabella, diligently completing each task, would try to retreat upstairs only to be called back by Victoria's deceptively gentle voice. Now, please clean the master bathroom. But Grandma, I have a math test tomorrow. I'm so sorry, dear, but you must do as you're told. If you can't follow our rules, we can't continue this living arrangement. It's for your own good, Isabella. Victoria's manicured hand gripped Isabella's wrist, dragging her toward the bathroom. Do as you're told, Isabella. Victoria's cultured voice came through crystal clear on the high-end security system, her tone dripping with false concern. Grandpa, please help me. Isabella's desperate plea to Theodore went unanswered as he sat in his leather armchair, passively watching the scene unfold. I felt physically ill watching the footage. This systematic abuse had been happening daily while I was closing deals at the office. My in-laws, pillars of Boston society, were tormenting my child behind closed doors. I kept the surveillance system secret but confronted Maxwell with the evidence of his parents' abuse. His response chilled me. So the little ingrate talked after all that discipline? Wasn't the lesson enough? You orchestrated this whole thing. What are you saying? I only mentioned your parents' actions. You manipulated me. You're despicable. Despicable? You're terrorizing our fourth-grade daughter. Suddenly, Maxwell's insistence on supervising Isabella's showers made horrifying sense. I know what you've been doing at her shower. Though I lacked proof, I had to confront him. It's educational discipline. She was getting complacent about her grades. She needed motivation to excel. Educational? She's traumatized. I simply made her recite multiplication tables until she got them perfect. The hot water was encouragement. Your outburst at the hospital wasn't about protecting your parents, was it? You were terrified of being exposed for coercing them into this abuse. That's why you're so desperate to keep CPS away. The security footage had caught Maxwell threatening Theodore and Victoria. They weren't willing participants in Isabella's torment. The constant red face after showers. He'd been holding her under hot water until she performed to his standards. The trauma turned her fear of water into a phobia, culminating in today's panic attack at the pool. You've robbed her of something she loved. So what? You can't possibly understand the pressure. You'll never understand. My dad was an executive in a major corporation, and my mom was an acclaimed educator. 1B+, and I'd face their disappointment. That crushing pressure. I won't let Isabella experience that misery. My methods are protection, preparation for the real world. His laughter turned maniacal. When my dad's health declined and he needed my help, it was time for me to take my revenge. I finally held power over them. Moving in together came with conditions. They had to push Isabella like they pushed me. That was our deal. Horror washed over me as Maxwell revealed his warped psychology. I've recorded every word of your confession, and the security footage shows you intimidating your parents into compliance. The evidence will protect Isabella from you. Wait, Audrey. We can work this out. Maxwell's voice edged toward panic. But I ended the call and blocked his number without another word. I presented the police and Child Protective Services with a comprehensive case, security footage, recorded confessions, and medical documentation from the hospital. The evidence is irrefutable, the detective assured me, immediately initiating an investigation. But the most devastating revelation came from Isabella herself when I asked why she'd suffered in silence. Through tears, she whispered, "Daddy said if I didn't meet his standards, he'd do the same things to you. I couldn't let him hurt you, Mom. My 10-year-old daughter had endured trauma to protect me. While I was chasing my career success, she was shielding me from her dad's abuse. What kind of mother am I?" I pulled her close, my own tears falling. "I'm so sorry, Isabella. I failed you." "No, Mom. You rescued me." Her small arms wrapped around me, and I wept harder. "I will always protect you, Isabella. You're the most precious thing in my life. I promise you'll never face anything like this again." The vow burned itself into my soul. The evidence proved overwhelming. Maxwell was arrested and charged with child abuse, while Theodore and Victoria were treated as coerced participants rather than willing perpetrators. Several months later, Theodore and Victoria appeared at my parents' Seattle home, looking frail and aged beyond their years. Audrey and Isabella. We can never adequately express our remorse. We were weak. We knew it was wrong but couldn't stand against Maxwell. We failed as grandparents in every way. Theodore and Victoria, the security footage shows clearly how Maxwell coerced you. Part of me wanted to blame them for their passive compliance, but I knew that wouldn't heal anything. Theodore struggled to maintain his formal posture despite his illness, his distinguished face contorted with shame. Regardless of the threats, we participated in traumatizing our precious granddaughter. We don't seek forgiveness. We just needed to apologize in person to you both. Perhaps selfishly, we needed this closure. Isabella approached them hesitantly, then gently touched their shoulders. "Grandma and Grandpa, I don't hate you. Thank you for helping me with my studies." Her words of grace shattered what remained of their composure. They couldn't lift their faces, as if unworthy to look at their granddaughter. Though Isabella invited them to visit, they never returned. 5 years have passed. Isabella is now thriving in middle school, and we live with my parents in Seattle's Queen Anne district. My company created a remote position allowing me to work primarily from home. Though the police maintain a watchful eye for Maxwell, I still sometimes feel anxious. I've installed state-of-the-art security systems and taken self-defense classes. I personally handle all school drop-offs and pickups. Gradually, Isabella's natural joy has reemerged. She's taken to helping my dad tend his extensive rose garden. "Grandpa, come see these heritage roses blooming. They're stunning, Isabella. Should we make a bouquet for your mom's desk?" "Yes, let's surprise her." My parents have found new vitality in their role as Isabella's protectors. Just as she once shielded me, I'll dedicate my life to safeguarding her happiness. Watching her laugh among the roses, I renew this vow daily.